This day 725 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like to sponsor our coming share or more, Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please send me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Tav Mem Ches Chav to Chav Vav. Chav. Vav Dak Mechiras HaCheder. Don't really have to sell the room to the guy. Do you Mishaskel HaCheder? You don't really have to, that was parsed wrong. You don't simply have to sell the room to the guy. You can rent him the room. All Makom Shechametz Munach, the place of the Chametz is that to be found. The Surus Kakar Nikan Gankin Nikan Bekesk and Burjam rental of land also is acquired by money. Especially the place of the Chametz is itself rented by the Jew. You can't sell it. Rather, he rents it out to the guy with all the rights and all the authority which he possesses. Mishnah says he should rent it out to him generically. And he can put in anything he wants in there, not specifically for the purpose of chametz necessarily. Not necessarily for the purpose of chametz. He has non-Jews who work in his business. He should rent out to him the employees, that the non-Jews should be in charge of the employees. The non-Jews employees, not his. The hiring of the workers and the contract does not require a acquisition or a document. Can be agreed upon verbally. Even though there it's referring to a balabas who is hiring workers. And here the Jew is renting out to the non-Jew the workers. It's all the same thing. The workers don't care they're working for. They get paid no matter from whom. We don't say, well, there's no agency for a non-Jew, so how can these workers be the agents of the non-Jew purchasing the rights there too? A non-Jew can become the worker of a non-Jew. Kuti Yisrael, Kuti, a non-Jew for a Jew, Jew to a non-Jew. So certainly non-Jews to each other. Even in terms of agency, it means they become agents for each other. And we explained there that hiring with by paying, when you're paying the person, is making him actually an employee, which they certainly have. If the Jew has animals, horses and other animals who are involved in the business, he has to sell them to the non-Jew. The horses and the animals, whatever the purchase price might be. Has the non-Jew acquired chametz? They do it to ask Rashi Zad the kohen metalkin b'kesef lo m'shicha. Rashi holds that non-Jews acquire movable objects by money, not by pulling them into their possession. That's Rabbeinu Tam Dakun Shira lo b'kesef. Rabbeinu Tam holds the opposites. You have to pull them into possession and not use money. Most poskim who like Rabbeinu Tam. Rambam Peragam Miskil Pasuk the kohen ben b'kesef ben m'shicha. Rambam says, but either one works, money or pulling. We explain the opinion is, if Mashiach is not possible, it's not feasible, then money works. And according to this, the Jew saying the comments takes from the buyer a pruta, even a minimal amount of money, and he bestows upon him ownership of the chametz. But we don't rely on this alone. Shua says, well, this is probably jumping the gun to the Mishnah Berurah here. I'll do it anyway. In terms of the halach, the Mishnah Berurah says that you certainly have to be makneh with both money and with pulling it together. And if you only did money or one of the other kinyanim, and it doesn't become chametz shavar lo pesach, it's mutar after Pesach. Sharatzion says, the Baal Tanya says, and if he remembers after the 6th hour comes, when he can't be mocked to the non-Jew, you don't have to redeem it from the non-Jew. I guess he has still extra chametz. Then you have to do the kinyan for the non-Jew. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. You have to redeem for the non-Jew and eradicate it from the world. Okay, I don't know what the scenario is that he's addressing there. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. Mashiach is not practical when you have a lot of chametz. You can use the handkerchief kinyan, chalifin. Suda means that the non-Jew gives him the handkerchief. And the Jew holds the handkerchief. And kinyan chalifin, which is kinyan sudar, the handkerchief kinyan, it works by non-Jew. Actually did in practice. But it says in Miguel Sus where we learn how kinyan chalifin. It's kinyan sudar. Those have to do Israel. This is the certification in Israel. Means that in Israel they had the custom to use this kinyan, but not to exclude non-Jews. Since you, however, are renting out to him the place shachametz munach bo, where the chametz is sitting, much as well, like we said, you also chametz the kinyan metallic agav karka. You also be makna him the chametz as all other metallic objects can be sold and bought, piggybacked on the ground. Works like my non-Jew as well. And like one of the Golim who questioned this. I ain't sure. See what we wrote there. Mishabur says kinyan agav works. Mishabur says when you're doing schirus, all you need is money. You don't need more than that. Mishabur says in kinyan agav works even if the chametz is not piled up here. Kinyan agav works even if the metallic are not literally piggybacked on the ground, but rather even they're elsewhere. Halacha writes according to Makor Chaim that's only by a sale where all the money is paid up. But when the buyer or the seller only gets a down payment and the rest is a loan, then the chametz has to be in that literally piggybacked on that land. And I'm not sure where it comes from. That's the Makor Chaim, but that's what he holds, I guess, because several reasons possible. And several Achronim, however, argue and are lenient, as one would expect. Halacha also writes that in terms of the kinyan agav in of itself, when it's a shas atkach, such as when there's a lot of chametz, don't refrain even from doing the chatchila, because almost all the Achronim hold that this is the best of the kinyanim, even the chatchila, and without shas atkach. And with chatchila, you should, if you can, you should add some other kinyan, like tumta, which is handshake kinyan, or the kinyan chalifin, and this because the two miktos and the maxis a shekel are not sure about kinyan agav, I guess. He brings down here in the parentheses in the Pesach Mishnah Berurah that the minhag day is to do multiple kinyanim, kind of like the shotgun approach. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. Begam kona ein Yehudi has the chametz kishus so achar makom nichotzer. Non-Jew acquires the chametz when he rents the place as a chotzer, because that's chotzer and chametz is in there. The kinyan chotzer shekomush chametz shom sim base, and non-Jew also has a kinyan chotzer. After doing peak make with same, no one is not sure about this as well. Kamagomani nevertheless it works. So that's totally a rishonim, which is how Misham that's been the great rishonim. Tell us called kinyanim, and you have to do all. It's best to do all the kinyanim. The halacha says when you're doing several kinyanim, it's appropriate to tell the non-Jew that you're being bestowing upon him ownership in one of these kinyanim and or in all of them together. And it's also good that should be mafkir for the basin. Okay, I guess you do mechira and you're mafkir all the chametz. Don't think that's practical nowadays. We go through a middleman. But in any event, back to Arukh HaShulchan. It's best to do all the kinyanim: kinyan kesef, kinyan sudar, kinyan agam, money, handkerchief, piggyback, kinyan chotzer, and the yard kinyan. And same goes in Gam Shtai Mechila. We also write a document on the sale, the bill of sale. The Shabur says chatchila, sell for money and for pulling. And when you can't pull it, you should be marked with other kinyanim, such as by writing it down or by giving a token amount of money, like a token amount of money, or a place where giving a key seals the deal. You should do that, or do kinyan agav, etc. Each and every place according to the minhagim of the commercial customs in those communities. That would be a kinyan, a pitin Torah. So of course, we know the idea of situmta is that any kinyan which the sokrim are noeg, the merchants are accustomed to doing, it comes about kinyan. Back to Shulchan Bavgad, the Talmud don't make the Bishar, even though what goes to the bill of sale, the Talmud not acquired by Shtar, and then Kfar B'yan Hashem Sim Reish Tes, see if you had signed, the Kemet Nogus Sokrim, but nowadays the minig of the Sokrim is Lichtov contracting. The right contract is on selling merchandise. Shtar is them is Chay Batzmo, this document, he obligates himself, the buyer, and it's an obligation on him, this person. Vadim Dino Kakarka. Okay, I'm not sure exactly. No, he's talking about that the seller obligates himself. The seller here being the Jew. The Sochrim and the seller obligates himself to the buyer. I guess they both obligate themselves to each other. That's the truth. Seller obligates himself to the buyer and buyer to the seller. The Kain of the Minag. Kain side, since that's a Minag, obviously Tumta. So that's the Situmta is mentioned for. The Kana adds about acquisition of Mazam Sim Reish Aleph. Votami is Baruch Sham, other reasons given there. Kain Asusim and Behemos have a Kinyanim. The way you do the kinyan on animals is also the same way you do the kinyan on metaltlin as well. Mishnah Bir Alocha says situmta. It's better not to rely on situmta alone, but you should be matar for this some other kinyan as well. Chabes v'tai, you should know that the kinyan kesef be'ariravon. The kinyan kesef is the down payment. Shemakam me'akon, which you accept, we get from the buyer al chametz, on the kol kinyan, and on the entire purchase. Going ofkab or zotok, which means Russian or Yiddish for down payment. Famos bad kol chametz, which is sharkol dvarim, and the rest of the money for the chametz and everything else. Zokil b'milveh, you make it a loan incumbent upon the buyer. The kinyan kesef ain't so she take called done mixed by acquiring by money. You don't have to give all the money at this up front. You give a little bit. But the Torah says down payment is given as the beginning of the payment. The some of them say that the symbolic amount is not effective. That the purchaser should have a guarantor who guarantees the money. We explained that there's no issue here. They'll hold that partial payment is also acquired, an acquisition. It's best also make a guarantor, that is our custom. Bishop says, even now Jew does give all the money, but several gold pieces, that's enough, and the Yisrael should make a condition with him that he acquires with this down payment, the room and the chametz, and the rest of the money should be alone. Just like Arukh back to the Arukh HaShulchan Gam Yesh Osos Handshake. Should minag asor because that's a minag asor. The bracket says here that much time is a kinyan kutzer. That what she said is a kinyan kutzer. Operative here as well. That doesn't work by a lot of chametz. It has to be a chutzer. The chutzer, kinyan kutzer work has to be a chutzer which he, the owner of the chutzer, can safeguard. Or he's just standing next to it. For example, because that's really not shaykh. There's a vast amount of chametz spread all over the place. Chav Gimel Dara Pashu. It's simple. Chametz Sarich Lios Munach Makom Shakani Chali Kanes L'Shami Atzmo. Chametz says be a place where the non-Jew can access it on his own. He can't go in. The Jews only onto the key. It's just outright ruse. That's why he said you have to give him the key. That was the custom for each generation. Now it's not so simple to do that. It's dangerous sometimes. Especially it's the primary chametz we're selling in Yash V'Seich are alcoholic beverages. And this is underneath the, I guess, the licensing of the government. You can't just give it somebody else. I'm assuming they were talking about bars. The bars can't just sell their liquor supplies to other people. That was the renda, which one of the many ways, one of the few ways, I should say, where the Jews were allowed to make money. But it's not really necessary. Assuming so if you literally hide the key, that's a problem. But furthermore, the big name, according to Dina, they can seize the property even without getting the key. That 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 the be accessible so at the time of the sale. But afterwards, if you close the area or even put a seal on it, mutter is still permissible. But it's not appropriate to do it nevertheless. And most of the but you did it inadvertently, neged akoina, and so the buyer saw it. For that we don't not concerned. It's not there and a kinyan because giving a key is not really a kinyan. Now let's both boven zeh, and our custom says Arukh HaShulchan is to direct the following procedure. To tell non-Jew shemachal chametz yisum chametz of any Yehudi should base osek but asek, or to the non-Jew who's in your house, who's involved in your business. Shakapolo shokana is like the worker, that he's like the worker of the buyer, or to him you say, to either one of the non-Jew himself, the buyer, or to his agent, employee who's become his agent, the new employee, which is acquired from the Jew. Re'eh, see, shemaftech minakam b'kan. The key is here. Cholei shatir, to anything you want. Lito chametz, take chametz. Tidam kind of maftech, take the key from here. Teilach v'tito, don't take. V'tashim maftech makom zeh, put the key back here. They shlo yavet, so it won't get lost. Makom shemir al-shem chametz, and the place of chametz is yusham eza kelim eza chafotzim atzrichim lo. Interesting. This is in order to make safeguard his chametz. You can put some kalim and some chafetzim, some vessels and some objects you need in Pesach. During Pesach, when Andrew goes to Yelch Gamu, you should also go. When a member's house with the sham, he plays a keli, lays a chavetz to take an object or a vessel. Male Shane Yudi, you know. Andrew won't take anything because the Jew is present. But you can't talk to him in Pesach about the chametz itself. Give me a gift on the condition that be returned because of Rabbi Chametz. It's not clear why not. We hold everywhere. Having a gift with the condition that be returned is a valid gift. Back says the base of Mevron says the name Shumas Adeshin as well. So if that's the case, but the Eved, Matom Nasachsi would work. Your Rabbi Taka says it. Those who say wherever that Matom Nasachsi does not work according to the strict letter of law, Mitam the cause mentioned at night totally have it could be cut. As long as the condition is not yet fulfilled, it's like an object in safekeeping. Come tonight before the condition is fulfilled. Violates Balayra. And avocat for Yerushalayim at night. So then, even though when the condition is fulfilled, Elohim was not fair retroactively be clarified. Shayal Ashena Yudi that we belong to the non-Jew. Come right fire over. It's too late. Someone run there red bus. They ain't no move on club. I understand this as Arukh HaShulchan. Kamadini Marmian v'chametz ikloi with several halachas chametz. We say retroactively it's clarified. Those who wanted with difficulties to sustain the surah, they ain't okay. It is not correct. The halacha says the chatchila. It's definitely Asr Medina. It's kind of like see more paradox. The chatchila vade Asr Medina. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what it means by that. Be as it may, says Arukh HaShulchan Chavhei Vaniyah Lefinas Daiti. It seems to me the name of Kortin says about Gos Maimoni. So as the halacha that goes Maimoni, but the example Tosefta Shem Sif Yudal. First is from Tosefta. We brought Sif Yudal Misov and Yehudi Sheu Boy Messina. About a Jew and non-Jew coming in a boat. Uvachi Nero Matar Gemura says it's given a complete gift. But the example, the Maimoni infer from this, the Matar Mas Asomani given order with the condition to be returned does not work. The Tama because that Tama said it was down there. Rebbe Makamani works everywhere because the Shem and Shum come into Pesach. He wrote perhaps because of because of Kumra Pesach. Chen Ani Omer Rambam Matur Shavila Tosefta Kishona. So it says Arukh HaShulchan, no, the Rambam and Tur brought them the Tosefta verbatim. They were not being precise. Because it means complete gift without a ruse. But if there is something to refer, this is how we can say, and the reason is simple. The kol matam nasachsir mekabel nota matam the other chakach machzira. And normally, why would a matam nasachsir work there? Because normally a matam nasachsir, the recipient receives it and then gives it back. But they're in the boat. And the chametz is on shore and not moving. So then, here's complete gift, complete gift. So in condition we return income it's meaningless. It's just words. There's no gift, no condition, no return. Just babble. Not take it, not put it back. I think that's in fact the case. If the guy is taking the chametz to his house, then definitely does work. I would say no, the base if he doesn't take it home, like in our sales, is not effective. Like we wrote, because it's meaningless. But in practice, even if he takes it to his own home, since the ancient sources have said, because you should be machmir, we should not rely on Matam Nas Lahachzir. The Mishnah says, but the Evid, if the condition was fulfilled, it's a machlekes achronim. Chavav, Ma'aseh Beruvin Shemach Chamtzel Yehudim Acheder Kedos. And so the chametz non-Jew with the room as appropriate. Shnei Yalo chametz and Shimon had chametz. V'lomar Chol Heino Yehudi. He didn't sell to non-Jew. Elamid chametz shlo. B'Acheder he also put his chametz in that room. V'dima b'daito he thought shebezayot seidach habas. So that's enough. U'pasku shechem to also by no. The pasuk in the Shimon's chametz says no. Pasuk it's obvious. Shvil Yomer Reuven Amati Chemtzi B'Chal Dorecha. Even if you tell Reuven I put my chametz in the room, animal it's not effective. Only came out so shliach. It made him agent, limkor to sell. Or he can also chametz in Matana, gave him the chametz as a gift. But a verbal the statement is meaningless.